The history of Italy is linked with that of migrations, whether by the Italians themselves or by new waves of migration. At a linguistic level, Italy looked like this. The peninsula and its islands were characterized by what was initially a strong plurilingualism, given by the dialectal varieties present in the territory. It is now characterized by a real phenomenon of diglossia, which will be defined as dialelia. Dialects have represented and still represent the identity of the speakers of these varieties on a diatopic and diaphasic level, and one can observe how the code known as Italian and dialects alternate, following their own hierarchy, diglossia. Yet, Gaetano Berruto states that, more than diglossia, one can speak of dialelia, that is the alternation of Italian and dialect, in contexts and situations that are less hierarchically marked. Italian dialects are subdivided into macro areas. Northern dialects, subdivided into Gallo-Italic and Venetian dialects, Friulan dialects, Tuscan dialects, and Central Southern dialects, subdivided into Middle Area dialects, Upper Southern dialects, and Extreme Southern dialects. Sardinian dialects are part of a separate branch, and Ladin has been now recognized as a language of its own. Before the unification of Italy, the peninsula and its islands characterized what Tullio De Mauro in Storia Linguistica dell'Italia Unita defined as a thicket of dialects, that is, a situation of strong plurilingualism. The search for a common language can be traced back to the 14th century, where attempts were made to find a code common to the whole of Italy with little success. After the unification of Italy, there was a need to find a common idiom, as it was for France after the revolution. Alessandro Manzoni drew up dell'Unità della Lingua e dei Mezzi per diffonderla, in which he established that a variant of the Tuscan dialect, Florentine, should rise to the status of common idiom, to the detriment of all dialectal varieties, and identifying the school as the means to implement this policy. The process was slow, with various factors impeding its realization, such as a low literacy throughout the country. It was only in the 80s and 90s that dialects will disappear in many contexts of Italian lives, as well as the familiar context. Though late, this policy certainly led to the demonization of dialects. Yet, in recent times, it has been observed how dialects have emerged from the remote corner to which they were relegated, rediscovering new life. Just think of the various media that use dialect as a linguistic code. Even Alberto Sobrero in Lecce, Italiano e dialetto degli adulti fra lavoro e media, points out how dialects, albeit asystematically, move within spaces that were previously exclusive to the use of Italophony, for example the internet or social networks. In short, dialects turn out to be a code used also by young people that see them as a representation of the sense of belonging and familiarity for the protagonist of the internal diaspora. Speaking of the diaspora, another phenomenon to trace the use of dialect is that of the emigrations of Italians from the late 19th to the mid-20th century. For North America, the total number of Italians who emigrated was around 15 million, and they moved mainly from southern and northern regions. The profile of the emigrant was very similar to what will also be seen for the Australian continent, that is, male or working age, with a low level of education. Gradually, these emigrants brought family members with them, thus enlarging the community of Italians in North America. Gaetano Berruto points out how first-generation migrants voluntarily chose to abandon dialect in favor of Italian, since they were aware of the need to create a unique identity with their country of origin. North American society also tended more towards assimilation in conforming the various ethnic groups to a single linguistic code, namely English. The loss of dialect in the United States predated that of Canada, and although codes known as Italian American in Italy has originated in the communities of Italian Americans and Italian Canadians, The loss of dialect was necessary in order to adapt to and to integrate with the already highly and ethnically diverse community of the host country. Yet, Herman Alla argues that thanks to the latest generation's rediscovery of their ancestors' culture and love for their country of origin, young people can also rediscover and learn dialects. Australia experienced a similar phenomenon, where one can observe how dialect was more resistant. Yet, from the study carried out by Camilla Bettoni and Antonia Rubino in Emigrazione e comportamento linguistico, un'indagine sul trilinguismo dei siciliani e dei veneti in Australia, it can be seen that dialect was a variety spoken mainly with family elders. Italian had become the alternate code for English, as dialects were for Italian. Australian society itself had, for a time, promoted cultural diversity. This promotion helped Italian immigrants and their descendants to get to know their country of origin on a cultural level, and this also had enabled the rediscovery of the Italian language. Although the two linguists made a negative prediction about the survival of dialect, Benatti and Tarantini's study, Dialects Among Young Italian Australians, A Shift in Attitude and Perception, from 2017, showed that young descendants are interested in rediscovering the dialect and would also like to learn it. Furthermore, several YouTube and Instagram accounts, such as Growing Up Italian, My Nonna Fina, and Nonna Knows Best, demonstrate how the latest generations of Italian descendants know and understand dialect, especially in conversation with older family members. Finally, Italy in the age of migration sees an ever-expanding foreign community relating to the dialectic reality of Italy. People of foreign origin see in the dialect an identitarian code. They recognize its low variety, yet they feel this code as exclusionary. In the presence of foreigners capable of understanding and speaking dialect, the phenomenon of unexpected dialectophony arises. That is, a sense of astonishment at the foreigner knowing dialect. This could be traced back to the fact that natives perceive dialect as exclusive to them and are surprised if the other is capable of speaking and understanding it. With the concept of us and others, dialect is used as an exclusionary code to which, according to a study by Federica Guerini, foreigners feel they cannot access. Foreigners also consider dialect as an obstacle to the assimilation of Italian and prefer the use of it. Access to dialect by natives towards foreigners would be an important part to shorten those non-existent distances between us and them, to mix cultures and enrich our ethnically varied country. Not only that, access to the identity code that is dialect, also for second generations, will lead to the maintenance and survival of this linguistic wealth of ours.